What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the 2018 MLB Preview. Today is our final episode as we do our awards and predictions. I'm Preston. I'm joined by Josh. Let's do this.
All right, we are jumping right into it today. We're going to look at each division winner first. We've gone through our previews. We've talked about where we think each team may end up, but now is the definitive answer of where we think our predictions will land. So starting off, we're going to start in the AL East. I have the Yankees coming out of the East in a very hard-fought battle with the Red Sox, but I think ultimately the Yankees have the firepower that puts them over the Red Sox. I think this will be their year to win that division.
I also have the Yankees in the AL East, and I also have it just in a battle over the Red Sox. I think that the Yankees' offense is, like we said before, record-breaking, and I think that the Yankees' pitching is enough to equal the Red Sox staff, if not better it, with Luis Severino stepping into that ace role.
Absolutely. Moving on to the Central. I've got the Indians, not just because I'm an Indians fan, but there's really nobody else challenging them besides the Twins, but I don't think the Twins are there, and I think the Indians have a good shot at winning over 100 games this year.
Yeah, I also have the Indians. This is the most complete team in the Central. They continue to be the class of the Central. Pitching, hitting, bullpen, it's all better than anyone else in the AL Central, including the Twins. This should be an easy season for the Indians, in my opinion.
Moving on to the West, I've got the Astros. I'm sure you have the Astros. I'm sure everybody has the Astros. This team is just unreal. They're dominant. They're built to win, and they've done a great job at it.
Yeah, this kills me. It kills me inside. But the Astros, they won the World Series last year, and they just got better. The Astros, they're the best team in the West. Unfortunately, maybe the Angels can give them a good go. Maybe someone else in the division can give them a good go. But the Astros are the best. I have them winning the West also.
So moving on to the National League, we have the East. I picked the Nationals. I think the Nationals have a good shot to absolutely obliterate the NL East and really run away with it.
Yeah, I also have the Nationals. I'm starting to notice a trend here. But yeah, the Nationals, the NL East, so many weak teams, so many rebuilding teams. There's really only the Mets to challenge them. And while the Mets have a great pitching staff, I don't think that they can equal the Nationals' firepower on offense.
Moving on to the Central, I'm sure you have the same team I have here as well. I've got the Chicago Cubs. I think the Brewers put up a good fight, but ultimately it's not enough, and the Cubs move on to win the Central.
Yep, I also have the Cubs. I love this Cubs lineup. I love this Cubs rotation. I like the Darvish edition. I like the Chatwood edition. I think that this is a team that suffered from a little bit of World Series fatigue from winning it, and I think that they'll be back hungry this year. And while I love the Cardinals and Brewers additions, I just don't think it's enough to get over the hump.
Finally, with the NL West, I have the Dodgers. I'm sure you have the Dodgers as well, unless there's a bit of a challenge there. I think this whole division is really a well-developed division, but I think the Dodgers are just too good to really be held back by anyone else in that division.
Yeah, the Dodgers are the class of the division. I also have them. And I think that it's interesting is this is going to be a pretty common theme for most people's predictions, for experts' predictions. I think that there are six clearly elite teams
Yep.
compared to everyone else in baseball right now, and all six of those teams have a legitimate chance to win the World Series. I don't think that one of them sticks out so clearly above another. I just think that at the tops of the divisions, it should be a pretty easy cakewalk on who you're choosing to win the division. Where the fun begins is the wild cards.
Absolutely. And with the AL wild card, I have the Red Sox at the one spot and the Angels as my second wild card. Unfortunately, Preston, I have the Red Sox beating the Angels in the wild card game, though it may be a tight one. I think the Red Sox have enough to beat them. I think the Red Sox have enough to possibly challenge the next team they face in the playoffs, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I actually have the same two teams for the wild card. That's surprising. I have the Red Sox, and of course I wasn't going to leave the Angels out. They've done way too much this offseason. Even as a non-homer pick, I think that this team is finally built for a playoff run. They made the right additions, and they have hopefully healthy pitching. That's going to be what takes them into the playoffs is healthy pitching. but I have the Angels beating the Red Sox in that wild card game. I think that in that game you would see Garrett Richards face Chris Sale, and I think that you'd see a tight game throughout, but I have confidence in the Angels offense to get it over with, and that's probably the most homer pick I'll make on this series because the Red Sox have a tough team, but I think that that'd be a great game. Lots of playoff history there. I have the Angels beating the Red Sox.
I think it's going to be a great game. Moving on, though, to the NL wildcard, I think the NL wildcard is probably the most interesting because you also have the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Cardinals, who are great, and there's some other teams that could sneak in there. I have the Rockies beating the Cardinals. I think the Rockies have made some good moves, and their bullpen, like we talked about in our preview, is phenomenal, and I think they have a great bullpen to hold off the Cardinals and take this game.
I have the Cardinals in the wild card game as well, but I have the D-backs over the Rockies in the second wild card spot. I have the Cardinals as the first wild card team. And then I have the Cardinals beating the D-backs. I think the Cardinals made enough moves this year. I think that Carlos Martinez in a wild card game would be really elite. I think that my toughest choice here was between the Rockies and the D-backs for that second wild card spot. I don't think the Brewers have enough unless they add a starting pitcher like we mentioned in our team previews. But as you'll see in a later prediction for the awards, I think that one person will bring the D-backs over the hump into the playoffs, but it's not going to be enough in that wild card game. The Cardinals move on.
Yeah, and I think talking about awards, let's hop right into our award predictions. We're going to come swinging with our MVP picks. Coming out of the AL, I have to go with Mike Trout. I think this is going to be his year. Yes. He's phenomenal, and he's put up unreal numbers his whole career.
His jerseys are right up there, people. In the basket. They're right up there. And yes, I also have Mike Trout winning the AL MVP. It's pretty simple. When Mike Trout is healthy, Mike Trout is dominant. Mike Trout is the best player in baseball. First or second every single year in the league, except for last year. He finished fourth or third, I believe, in the MVP, and that was because he was injured for 60 games. If the Angels make a playoff run and Mike Trout is his elite self, he's absolutely the most valuable player.
Oh, absolutely. For the NL contract year, Bryce Harper, I think Bryce Harper, guys, is going to get somewhere around $40 million a year in some unreal contract, and I don't think he stays with the Nationals, but I think he puts up an absolutely stellar year with the Nationals in his final year.
Well, that's a tough pick to go against, right? Harper in a contract year, and the Nationals they'll certainly be competing. But like I said, the D-backs have to make the playoffs, right? And who's the most underrated player in baseball? Paul Goldschmidt.
That's
this is
right.
His year to finally come out and break across all the country to where he's not just noticed in Arizona, he's noticed in LA, he's noticed in New York. Paul Goldschmidt wins the MVP. He posts up a monstrous year, and finally D-backs fans can rejoice.
All right, AL Cy Young. I've got Chris Sale. I think Chris Sale's going to just keep developing as he has over the years into this absolutely elite guy. He's shown it time and time again how great he is. I think he wins the Cy Young this year. He comes close every year. This year's his year. He's taking the Cy Young home.
I have the same pick there. Chris Sale, dominant pitcher, and they're going to need him to be dominant to stay in this playoff hunt with the Yankees in that division. I like Chris Sale a lot. I think that it'll be between him and Kluber. As much as I love the Astros, I'm just not sure if I'd be comfortable going with Keuchel or Verlander at his age, or Garrett Cole, who hasn't been as consistent. I think the Astros overall have an incredible rotation, but I think that Sale is probably the class of the American League when it comes to pitching. He's my Cy Young.
I think the NL is going to be an interesting one. I have two guys here who really have a good shot. Ultimately, I have Clayton Kershaw, but Max Scherzer has been fantastic. I think the race for the NL Cy Young is going to be an absolute blast to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at two of the best pitchers of our generation, Kershaw and Scherzer. I also have Kershaw pulling it out. I can't go against him. It's Clayton Kershaw. He's the best pitcher I've seen in my lifetime. I don't see how he doesn't win this Cy Young.
AL Rookie of the Year. I know you are very excited to talk about AL Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yes.
I have Ohtani. I think he's going to put up some fantastic numbers and really surprise a lot of people. I think he has a great shot at easily taking Rookie of the Year.
I think that if Otani puts up respectable numbers, he has to be the Rookie of the Year. It doesn't
Yeah.
even have to be dominant numbers. This guy is going to do pitching and hitting people, and if he can put up even like above average numbers at hitting wise and good numbers pitching wise, he has to be the Rookie of the Year, and he honestly should be considered for MVP if he
Yep.
goes anywhere above that, because you're looking at someone that can affect the side or affect the game from both sides of the ball, from pitching and from hitting. It's unheard of. It could fail disaster, like it could just spell huge disaster because you never know what's going to happen. No one's ever done it before except for Babe Ruth. I mean, this is something that no one is used to. It's going to be must-watch TV in Anaheim, and I do think that Shohei has the ability to put up respectable numbers from both sides, and he has to be the Rookie of the Year in that case.
Moving on to NL Rookie of the Year, I think there's a few guys you could choose from here. My pick is Lewis Brinson, who is traded over from the Brewers. I think he's going to be a great player in the outfield, and he really has a chance now to shine in a team that's really going to struggle.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I like Brinson as a player. I'm going to go with Ronald Acuna, though, stay in the division. The Braves, I expect this kid to get the call up a couple months in the season, maybe earlier. But all the hype around him, I feel, is legit. He's a true five-tool player. And I think that he's the type that could not only run away with Rookie of the Year, but also be in MVP talks in the near future. He's that good.
All right, so now we go into Manager of the Year. This one, for me, I think is pretty interesting. I have for the AL Aaron Boone, who's coming in first year at the Yankees. I think the Yankees, what they have is such a fantastic team and really a chance to go and win it all. And I think that's why Aaron Boone ends up taking home this award.
Yeah, I have Aaron Boone as well, and I think it's mainly because he's coming into a locker room that's got some big stars in it, and they've got huge expectations. But I just can't see the Yankees not living up to those expectations. And I think that a monster season in your first year, beating the rival Red Sox to the division, I think it'll be enough to propel him to AL Manager of the Year.
Yes. NL Manager of the Year, I have another new manager, Dave Martinez with the Nationals. You'll find out later why I've picked Dave Martinez, but I really think he has a good shot at winning this.
Yeah, I've got Dave Roberts winning it. I think that it's just going to be because the Dodgers are in such a tough division. They're going to be battling out with the D-backs and the Rockies. I think it's going to be a tough job compared to what the Cubs have in the Central and what the Nats have in the East. And I think that when the Dodgers ultimately come on top again, it's going to be Dave's year to get the recognition for keeping that team so consistent.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So now that we have our division winners, our wild card, and our awards predicted, we're going to move on to our postseason predictions. I'll start with mine, and then Preston will share his. Coming out straight in the American League, I have the Indians over the Red Sox. I think the Indians will end up with the best record in the American League due to their poor division. And I think the Astros are going to beat the Yankees. I then have the Astros beating the Indians, and then I'll talk about what happens in the World Series in a sec. I have the Nationals over the Rockies. They'll have the best record in the National League. And the Cubs over the Dodgers. The Nationals end up beating the Cubs. And here's my reason why Dave Martinez is winning NL Manager of the Year. Nationals World Series pick. I think they break the DC curse. This is their year. They're going to have a killer World Series against the Astros. This goes 7 games easily, and it is going to be one for the books.
And then you wonder if they win the World Series like you predict, Josh. Are they going to re-sign Harper? Because they'll be in complete celebration mode in D.C. at that point.
That's right.
I like that prediction a lot. I've got I can't believe I'm saying this. I got the Indians over the Angels in the ALDS. My homer pick stops there just because I don't know if the Angels can match up to that rotation of the Indians. I think that'd be the big difference in the series. The Indians are built for the playoffs, and the Angels have so many question marks that I'm not sure. In this prediction, I have them making the playoffs, and I think it's because Garrett Richards and Otani can lead the way, but I'm not sure who's that third guy that's going to step up in a series against the Indians. And so, as much as it hurts me to say it, I got the Indians over the Angels, and the Angels road stopping there. But then I have, and like Josh said, I should say, the Indians are going to be the best team in baseball record-wise because of the division they play in. So many teams rebuilding and such a good roster that's close enough to the Astros and to the Yankees that I think that they easily should win well over 100 games. And so that's why they'll be the number one team in the AL. As far as the other series, I also have the Astros beating the Yankees. I like the Astros' moves too much in that rotation. And as far as young talent goes on the roster, they can match the Yankees. They maybe can't match the Yankees' power, but I think elsewhere they can match the Yankees enough to where they'll take that series. In the ALCS, I've got the Astros over the Indians. I've got them returning to the World Series. And it's pretty much just what I said previously, that young talent on the roster plus the addition of Garrett Cole should take them over the hump. And as far as the NL goes, I've got the Nationals as the number one team in the NL, just like Josh, because of the division. I think that, like I said, the top 6 teams in baseball are so tightly knit with their rosters. I think they're close enough that it's like give or take. But then you look at the bottoms of the divisions that they're in, and the NL East is just so weak. I can't see the Nationals not ending up with the best record. So I've got them over the Cardinals, who won the wild card game. And I just like that Nationals rotation and line up too much to go with the Cardinals, who, after Martinez and Waka and Wainwright, you're looking at those two. Waka and Wainwright, I think they're the question marks in that series. So that's why I'd go with the Nationals. The other series, Cubs versus Dodgers, we see it all the time now. It's becoming a recurring theme. I've got the Cubs taking it. Yu Darvish gets to stick it to his old team, just like he said when he signed he's going to beat the Dodgers. Well, here's his chance. I think that he'll get it done with the Cubs. They're going to the NLCS. They're going to play the Nationals. And the Cubs are going to beat the Nationals. They're going back to the World Series. I like the Cubs rotation as much as the Nationals, which is tough to do. And I like the Cubs lineup better than the Nationals. This team is built for another World Series run. And like I said, I think that last year was just kind of a World Series hangover. You break the biggest curse in sports. You know, it's kind of hard to rebound after that. And they still made it to the NLCS. So I'm expecting big things from the Cubs this year. They go to the World Series. They face the Astros. Baseball is just on fire at that point because you've got the past 2 World Series winners up against each other. The 2 teams that rebuild the right way, that built their teams from the bottom up, getting tons of prospects and then signing to supplement those prospects. Cubs, Astros. This is a dream World Series for me, and the Astros are going down. The Cubs are winning the World Series. They're going all the way. Go Cubs, go. Chicago's going crazy again, and this curse becomes a dynasty, and this Cubs team takes that next step, and Rizzo and Bryant are heroes of Chicago. I can already envision the parade. It's going to be crazy. Cubs fans are going to become just as bad as Blackhawks fans. Brace yourself. There's a little shot there, but that's our predictions. We've got it all set up. We went through 4 episodes for you guys. We went through each division, each team. We went through our predictions. We went through our awards. But this isn't it. Expect more baseball coverage from both me and Josh throughout the season. Whenever there's a big signing, you can expect a video. Whenever something exciting or interesting happens in baseball, we're going to be here to report on it. So thanks so much. Leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me on this, Josh. It's been a blast. And we will see you guys next time.